Hello, everyone, and welcome to the part 21 of this Amazon Bedrock AgentCore series. In our session today, we will deep dive into AgentCore Identity. I've mentioned a reference URL over here. I would definitely recommend that you visit this URL as it has more information about AgentCore Identity. I've also created playlists on my channel for Amazon Bedrock and Bedrock AgentCore. As I create additional tutorials and labs, I will have them added to these playlists. All these URLs will be mentioned in the description of this video. These are the different modular components of AgentCore. During reInvent 2025, policy and evaluations got added. The rest of the others are the previous ones or the standard ones that we had earlier as well. From these, when I initiated this series, first we looked at AgentCore runtime. After that, we evaluated memory. Then we worked with gateways. So we have completed these three modules: runtime, memory, and gateways. Today, we will start with another module, and that is AgentCore Identity. In fact, we have already worked with identity in parts 19 and 20 when we were building a gateway, and also when we added our targets, especially our tools. We used AgentCore Identity to store our API keys. So we have worked with it, but now we will deep dive and understand what AgentCore Identity is all about. So let us begin with a very simple question. What is AgentCore Identity? AgentCore Identity is an identity, authentication, authorization, and a credential management service that is specifically designed for AI agents and automated workflows or workloads. So let's say if you go for an interview and you're asked, can you please help us understand what is AgentCore Identity and basically how it works? So we will get to how it works, but the definition of what is AgentCore Identity is that, hey, it is an identity authentication, authorization, and a credential management service specifically designed for AI agents and automated workloads. AgentCore Identity enables agents and tools to access AWS resources and third-party services. Now, of course, it enables these tools and agents to access these resources on behalf of some user or some client application. And it does this by maintaining strict security controls and audit trails. Identity enables seamless integration with AWS and third-party services through SIG 4, OAuth 2.0, and API keys. Three mechanisms. Most importantly, any data that is stored in AgentCore Identity is encrypted. This is the key. Okay, so if you're storing an API key in AgentCore Identity, you don't have to worry about it getting stolen or it getting corrupted or anything of that sort. It is encrypted over there. And how is it encrypted? It is encrypted using AWS-owned keys or customer managed keys, that is, of course, via AWS KMS or Key Management System. Now, Bedrock AgentCore Identity provides managed OAuth 2.0 supported providers, both for inbound and outbound authentication. And these include Google, GitHub, Slack, Salesforce. There are a total of 24. Okay. We will look at all of them a little later. But for right now, just keep this in your back pocket that it does support OAuth 2.0 inbound and outbound authentication using external providers. Now let us look at how AgentCore Identity works. So you have a caller over here. This is our hosted agent. Our caller basically calls this hosted agent. Our caller will have to authenticate and authorize themselves. So this is inbound authentication and authorization. So that is mentioned right here. So for inbound authentication and authorization, especially, for let's say a caller like this to get access to your hosted agent or tool or runtime or a gateway, you can configure that using either IAM or JWT. This is web tokens, for example, OAuth tokens from your identity provider. Remember, it has a total of 24 identity providers. That is both internal and external. Now, from here, our agent calls a gateway. So agent needs outbound authentication and gateway needs inbound authentication and authorization. Gateway internally behind the scenes has gateway targets. So target need outbound authentication and authorization as well. Now you can use either IAM, as you can see over here, that is for AWS resources and agents. But for anything that is external, you can use Cognito, or you can use an external resource or an external OAuth provider, identity provider. Okay, so these are the two main mechanisms. One is inbound authentication and authorization, and other one is outbound. So outbound and inbound. Okay. So it's totally up to you which provider you want to use. You want to use OAuth tokens, you want to use API keys. For OAuth, you want to use Cognito, which is, in-house, or you want to use something external like Slack or, what is that? GitHub, Salesforce, whatever external resource you want to use, that's totally up to you. It has to be a JSON base or JWT. Okay. So it needs to be a web token. So hopefully this is clear. So what you're doing is authentication and authorization, both inbound and outbound. Now let us look at some of the supported authentication patterns. There are two of them. The first one over here is UDA, that is user delegated access. And the second one over here is machine to machine. Now, just looking at the pattern name, I think it should be quite clear that when it is user delegated access, it essentially means that a user is involved. When it's machine to machine, you are talking about machine to machine communication. So no user intervention is there over here. But now let us look at both of these patterns separately. So for UDA or user delegated access, basically this particular pattern is used when your agents need access to personal data or to perform any specific action. And for this agent to perform this action, especially let's say accessing users' personal data or personal information, the user or the resource owner in this case will have to explicitly authorize your agent to access their data. Okay, so for user delegated access, you require explicit user consent through authorization prompt, provide access to user specific data and resources, maintain clear separation between agent identity and user authorization, and most importantly, support fine-grained scopes that limit what data an agent can access. Okay, so in very simple words, there is human in the loop over here, and the user is deciding whether the agent can access this information, yes or no. It could go either ways. If the user authorizes, the agent will be able to access that information or perform that action. If the user does not, then the agent cannot do anything. So what are some of the example scenarios where you can use this pattern? Let's say anywhere where an agent needs to access users' personal information. For example, their calendar, their email, or their Google Drive to store documents. Somewhere, wherever, user has to say yes or no. Like, okay, yes, you can go and, access my email, or you can access my calendar. So this kind of pattern is typically used for personal assistance agents or customer service agents, or any scenario where an agent needs explicit access to user specific data. Okay, the user has to provide consent. So that is user delegated access. On the other hand, let us look at machine to machine authentication. As the name suggests, there is no user interaction. So without any user interaction. And this also says that, hey, there is pre-authorized user consent to perform that action. Or basically, you don't need any user's consent over here. So when an agent has to, perform any action without user interaction or user consent, or you can say with pre-authorized user consent or access, that's when you can use machine-to-machine authentication. So the key characteristics of this is, of course, no user interaction or consent required. Agent authenticates directly with resource servers using its own credentials, suitable for background processes, scheduled tasks, and system level operations, and permissions are defined at agent level rather than at a user level. So the user is not asked, is not requested to perform any action. The user doesn't provide any approval. Okay, all of those permissions are defined and approved at an agent level. So what are some of the scenarios where you can use this particular pattern? Let's say you want to create a data processing agent that needs to collect data from multiple internal systems, process it, and store it in a data warehouse. So some of the ideal agents to use this pattern is enterprise automation agents, data processing workflows, and DevOps automation. Basically, machine-to-machine authentication or interaction. Now, let us also deep dive a little bit more and understand when to choose the right authentication pattern. So let's say you have user-specific data. We already discussed about this. Use UDA. When you have system or non-user specific data or organizational owned data, use machine-to-machine. When a user is present in the workflow and can provide consent or is required to provide consent, use user delegated access. No user interaction available or required, use machine-to-machine. If your workflow or your agent is interactive and has some real-time operations like accessing somebody's email or calendar or maybe some other action, use user delegated access. Any kind of background scheduler batch operations that happens behind the scenes, no user interaction, use machine-to-machine. And finally, since you're interacting with the user can provide their response, and then going forward, permissions can vary by user and their choices or their consent. In that case, of course, you don't have a choice. You have to use user delegated access. But when consent permissions are defined at an agent level, remember we just saw that, and not at a user level, that is when you have to use machine-to-machine. So hopefully this clears when to use which pattern and under what scenario or circumstances. Now let us look at some of the popular OAuth 2 supported providers. So we have a total of 24, as I said earlier. Amazon Cognito is Amazon's homegrown. Rest of the others, as you see, are external, and it's totally up to you which one you want to use as long as it is JWT, right? JSON-based web token. So or that is OAuth 2.0 tokens. And remember, these are some of the built-in providers that are available. And these built-in providers are managed by AgentCore Identity team. They automatically update and handle any changes with the external service APIs, security requirements, and best practices. So all that you have to do is practically just use them. Use cases. This should be pretty straightforward. Now we've already talked about this. Personal assistant agents, UDA based. Any kind of enterprise automation agents, you can use AgentCore Identity for any kind of machine-to-machine interaction. Customer service agents, again, UDA based, user delegated access, but still you can use AgentCore Identity. Data processing and analytics agents, again, machine-to-machine interaction. Development and DevOps agents could be UDA based, could be machine-to-machine, depending upon your maturity level. Hence, over here also you can use your AgentCore Identity. So, guys, this is it from me today. I hope that this session was helpful. In very simple words, just to repeat myself, AgentCore Identity is an identity authentication, authorization, credential management service. Okay, you can use different patterns around it to create all these wonderful agents. Remember that this service has been specifically designed to support AI agents, for example, someone like you see on your screen, or any automated workflows. Again, some of these could be AI based, some of them could be just simply automated workflows. So hopefully this is clear. Do post your comments, let me know your thoughts. And this is it from me today. I will see you shortly in some other video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.